Hey guys, this is From the Ground Up. My name is Fernando Crisantos.
And I'm Oscar Vargas.
And today we're excited to have Dana Harvey from Harvey's Handbags in our set. First guest, first speaker. Yeah, thanks for...
Excited to be here, guys. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, From the Ground Up is a concept of commercial real estate. Of course, you come from a completely different background doing apparel, basically, right?
Yeah. Handbags. We've been in business 23 years.
23 years?
23 years this year, yeah.
97?
2020, yeah.
Yeah, so what got you into handbags? How did you come up with the concept of Harvey's?
Our bags are all made out of seatbelt, and I was restoring a 1950 Buick, and back then they didn't have seatbelts, and so I was trying to bring the safety standards up, and so I went down to the upholstery shop and bought a whole roll of seatbelt, and my mother taught me how to sew when I was a kid, so I kind of had that skill, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this project, and so installed all the seatbelts, and then we had a ton of leftover seatbelt, and my wife is like, hey, could you make me a bag out of that and match the car? And I'm like, okay, I could play around with that. So when I was growing up in New Zealand, my grandmother is Polynesian, and she taught me how to weave baskets. And so I kind of had that skill. I'm like, maybe I can do that with the seatbelt. And so the very first bag that we made was like a woven seatbelt for my wife. And then she carried it around, and her friends are like, wow, that's really cool. Can you guys make me one? And just kind of grew from there. And one of our friends worked at a store up in Los Angeles called American Rag. And I had made her a bag, and she walked into the store one day with that. And the store owner is like, where did you get that bag? It's amazing. And that was our very first account. And so nice. I think the first order was like 15 bags. I'm like, how am I going to make this? Yeah. So kind of launched it from there. And then they sold out like hotcakes, and she was ordering more. And I just kind of launched from there, and other stores found out about us. And this is back in 1997. So, the retail environment was a lot different. So you really couldn't sell direct to the public. You had to kind of go through retail outlets and wholesale. And so we kind of grew the business that way. And, through the years, we've kind of evolved as retail has evolved. And, here we are today and kind of entering the world of property development now. So yeah, kind of fell into that.
Yeah. Like a lot of things happen by accident and coincidence. What was the first deal that got you into real estate, or how did you get into commercial real estate?
Well, during the process of building the handbag business, we started out in the garage here in Santa Ana, and we would have employees come over to the house, and we organically grew. We didn't really have backing with a bank or anything. We just, my wife's mother kind of gave us a small loan, and we bought sewing machines, and as we grew, we kind of grew into the living room. And so, it kind of got ridiculous when we had big trucks like pulling out to the front of our house. And then they're like, they had like pallets of seatbelt, and they're like, do you guys have a forklift? And we're like, no, we're in a residential neighborhood here. So I think we lasted almost like 2 years in the house. And then we were like, okay, we got to make this legitimate. And we stepped up and looked for, a small warehouse space. And obviously we couldn't afford to buy anything yet because we were putting all the money back into the business. In fact, we both still had full-time jobs, I think, for the first year and a half. Mm-hmm. Just kind of reinvest everything into the company. And then we organically kept growing out of that small warehouse, went to a bigger warehouse. And then I think by the third move, we said, hey, we should look at purchasing some real estate and maybe get a little bit more than we needed. And then, we looked into the SBA loan.
Great program, by the way.
Yeah, it was awesome. So, we actually bought a business, a location for our business before we bought our own home. So
that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah. So we were still renting, and we're like, but we had this, commercial building, and then And then, believe it or not, we grew out of that. And so kind of leveraged into rent, becoming a landlord. And so we're like, okay, well, we don't need this location. And it was right around 2008 where we decided, hey, we need a bigger location. And, everything was kind of took a hit at that time. And so we weren't really in a position to purchase another building, but we were able to lease out our old building and cover the mortgage for that building and the new location to rent. And so, we just organically kind of made good decisions along the way. And
it made sense.
Yeah. And so, it took a little while for, the economy kind of came back. It took about 10 years for us to save to be in a position to buy another, commercial building for our business. But we still retain, and to this day, we have that original, commercial building that we purchased. And so we knew that we wanted to be, stay in the city of Santa Ana because we kind of have really good roots here. We have a lot of employees. And all of our products are made in the U.S. And so it was kind of a good opportunity for us to expand and kind of grow the business that way. And when we found a new location, we again did the SBA loan, and so it's been a really good program there.
Yeah. What part of Santa Ana were you making the bags originally from? Like,
Floral Park, actually.
All right,
yeah,
shout out to Floral Park.
Right.
Yeah,
right down the street, like on Ross. And so, we still drive by that original house and think, dang, it all started right here.
Right there.
Yeah. From the ground up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you have partnerships with Disney as well.
Yeah, we do licensing with Disney. That's been going on 12 years now. And so they approached us. They had kind of heard about us, and being as we are, local in Orange County, we met the Disney team. And
opportunity.
Yeah, and so with Disney, they own so many different licenses. They do Star Wars and they have Pixar. Do Toy Story and
so it's a shameless plug here.
I know. There you go. This is the product.
Can you pass me the Star Wars bag real quick?
What is?
This is the cool one.
Yeah.
So I just got a Star Wars shirt. You saw me wear the other day.
Right,
I was surprised you were shippy at the Anaheim Packing House. But yeah, the quality is awesome, and it's just. Was it the same? I guess the standards improved since you first started, but was it?
We've definitely evolved, through the years. And we originally, obviously, we couldn't print on the seatbelts in the original. We kind of just got what was left over from the auto industry, and so we would purchase from the manufacturers that supply Ford, GM, and Chrysler, and then. We kind of got to a point where we said, well, it would be really cool if we could print on these. Mm-hmm. And then that sort of opened the door to be able to do licensing with Disney and Lucasfilm and do the custom things that we can do now. So, yeah, it's definitely evolved through the years. And we have a pretty good loyal following base. And so it's allowed us to kind of find a little niche because, like I was saying, we do manufacture everything here in Santa Ana, Orange County. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of a unique thing in the handbag business. And so I think inherently by being kind of a more micro brand like that, the products kind of have more of a demand because the customers know that these are going to sell out and we're not mass producing them.
Right.
And so
custom thing, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And so we'll do product releases and then people line up for 2-3 days,
which is
they'll camp out. Yeah,
which brings me to Santa Ana Diesel.
Yes, the new location. Yeah,
which is where you have your headquarters, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And then there's this 2 Quonset huts that you started building with Luis from LSR.
So like I was saying earlier, we were looking for a new location and we wanted something unique and close to the downtown area, and we found a couple of spots that were, maybe more run of the mill in a, more of like an industrial condo situation. And we said, no, we want to find something with character. And there just really wasn't anything coming up on the market. And we found something in downtown, but the city's like, no, you can't manufacture in downtown.
So the city's so hard to work with.
Sometimes. Yeah, they're getting better though.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. And so I was working with a family friend, and he said, well, why don't you go, knock on doors and sorry, why don't you go and drive around and see if you see any buildings you like, and if they're not on the market, I'll knock on the door and see if they want to sell.
That's my pitch sometimes.
Yeah, so it actually worked. I'm like, really? You do that? So, I came across this old diesel shop, mechanic shop, and it had been there since the 70s. And it was in, from what I could see, it was 2 Quonset huts, and I didn't realize there was a concrete building next to it that was all involved. It was the whole parcel. And so, I had given him a couple addresses, but that was the one I really liked. And he called me like a day later. He's like, hey, I got some good news. Like, this guy's ready to retire and he wants to sell. And I said, no way. Wow. So, we kind of worked out a deal, and that's where we were able to utilize the SBA program. And initially I was like, okay, well, I was trying to figure out what we're going to do with 3 buildings. And, it was obviously too much square footage for us. Yeah. But with the SBA program, you're able to lease out
49%.
49%. Yeah. So as long as you're in 51%. So I kind of thought, we can help offset the cost of the mortgage by getting tenants in there. And so, we were able to secure that location. And then I met up with a contractor that had done a lot of work in the downtown area. His name's Luis.
It's about like half of Santa Ana, basically,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, LSI builders. So I had met him through a connection, a consultant actually that was helping me develop the property. And it just kind of opened my eyes to the potential of what we can do with these 3 buildings. And so he guided me through the process, and, I ended up hiring him as the contractor. The interesting thing is that SBA was also able to work into the loan the cost of construction. So we were able to build everything out, and it's been quite a process. I think we're going on 2 years now. Almost 3. 2 years. 2 years in January. It's pretty cool because we had a really cool architect that kind of took the concept of these Quonset huts and kept the original character of the building.
Was it Brian? Was City Fabric?
Brian with City Fabric. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So he had done a lot of infill stuff, and I really liked how he was able to repurpose the original structure and kind of give it like a new life, and work on the utilizing the street frontage and also working in some residential into the project was really cool. So I think I'm lucky that I connected with the right people and was able to really kind of see beyond my vision and what I really could do. And it's almost kind of like taking over to where my wife's running the Handbags now, and I'm kind of doing this developing full time. Yeah,
more fun, right?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely it's a really creative field, and that's what I think really inspires me, because coming from handbags in the fashion industry, it is you get to use that creative energy that is kind of inherent in me, and my mother was an artist, and so. That's something I really enjoy, but, architecture and developing, but also kind of working with these small businesses has been really fun too. And so made some really good relationships with these business owners, and the whole project is almost like a little incubator now for like small businesses. And so most of the units are around 1,000 square feet or less. And we were able to put in 10 different rentable suites into the project. And also for my handbag business, we were able to kind of position it with a retail location on site. And so we had, prior to this, we'd had retail locations, in more of a retail area. And so this being kind of a more industrial area, it is off the beaten path, but I think with how retail is shifting with the internet, we're able to kind of create an experience for the customer to bring them into, the place where we make the bags. And I think they appreciate that. And, it's kind of gives them a little story and a little,
Yeah, and so far you have Burritos La Palma coming in.
Burritos La Palma, and we decided to open our, take one of the corner unit. It was kind of like the prime unit And we said, hey, what if we did a cafe? Because we have, 50 plus employees that, it would be a great benefit for them. But not only that, it's open to our customers that, come to this random area, right? But, and then also just for the surrounding community. And so we're doing a little breakfast, lunch cafe. And then, and then I met up with you actually, and you've been helping me fill those tenant spots. So I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm going away from leasing, but a cool project like this, I'll take on any day because it's just fun to work on. Like, to work with you and Luis and Carlos and everybody involved. Like this, the synergy that we have is awesome. Just everyone's like low key and just doing it for fun, which is
it does seem like that. I appreciate that. Because we met through actually another project.
The Rate Dairy.
The Rate Dairy. So we met through that, and then I'm like, hey, can you help me lease some of these? But I appreciate you kind of taking that on because I know it's not your wheelhouse, right?
But just to kind of give a shout out to the people in there. So it's Burritos La Palma. We'll provide links and information on all these concepts because they're really cool concepts. There's also MBRZ, is that what it's called?
Embrace Dance Studio,
which is like a pole dancing fitness studio. All the creative men in Santa Ana are going to be hanging out there. We'll try to warn them off.
It's not pole dancing, it's pole fitness.
Yes.
I got in trouble when I told my wife, like, the new tenant's going to be pole dancing. And she's like, wait, pole dancing? I'm like, wait a second. I had to recoup with the Luis. I'm like, hey, my wife's shutting this down. What are we going to do? He said, go back and tell her it's pole fitness. I'm like, okay. So I got the, the green light on that. So no, but it is legit. I mean, it's kind of, I liken it to CrossFit for guys, and like the pole fitness is like that extreme, like
it's a workout. I mean, from what I hear,
I was trying to climb up. I was trying to climb up that pole. I couldn't make it up. I was like, I don't know how they do this.
It's like the rope climbing back in like the 70s. The kids had to do
right? In PE class, I'm like, how do you do this? But,
so the fitness studio and then Bonafide, Pomade barbershop. It looks so cool in there with the old school chairs and everything.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. And they manufacture a product, and so he was looking for a flagship location where he could not only distribute his product but also offer barbering service. So he has 5 chairs in there. And then in this location, he also has his retail store where he's selling his product. And then he also has an office in there. So it's just great to see that, how the property is really helping him grow his business. And so it's that's the bonus right there.
That's the kind of business you want too. That synergy. You can help somebody else out.
So that's super rewarding just to, being a small business owner, I kind of know, what you need from a landlord. And so working with these tenants is really rewarding for me. And I try to help them out and get them in there and give them a little boost and see what I can do. It's
also Alumir Labs.
You brought me them out of the blue. I was like,
that was a dream tenant. Like they're so great people too from.
Amazing people. They're from the UK. So they're starting a cosmetic. Their existing brand that's really big in the UK and Canada, and so this is kind of like this. They're bringing it out to the US. And they had looked at all kinds of locations and, premium office locations in Irvine.
Newport Beach too.
And like they wanted to be in something unique, and they saw the property and it wasn't even built out yet. It was just an empty space. And I'm like, this is kind of a long shot. I don't know if they'll like it, but they definitely saw the vision and they saw what we were doing with the whole property and kind of, creating this little campus in a way with all these little businesses, and they signed on, and I was like, happy to have them.
And we have 1 space left. We've had a lot of takers. We had some breweries looking at the back space too. So
there's a couple spaces left, and I think at this point we just are waiting for the right mix. And so we've had a couple of people look that maybe wasn't a good fit, and so we're like, okay, let's just hold out because we anticipate opening the cafe and Burritos La Palma in about June, and so. If we can find the right tenant in there, great. But if not, I think, it'll come.
So I do want to ask you about just like your personal mindset and your routine in the morning. Because I know a lot of people are curious about that. Me personally, like I'm always curious to know, like, what time successful people wake up? Like some people think like you have to wake up at 4 a.m. and go to the gym and like do that. Like what's your morning routine like?
You know what? I'm not one of those guys. But I have two small girls that it's my job is to get them to school at 7:30. So I have it down. I wake up at 6:30, and I used to have a gym membership, and I would drop them off and then go to the gym. But now I just knock it out at home. So I'm doing like calisthenics, and I just do like push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, like that. And so that seems to work. But I definitely get that in every day. It's really important to have that that physical fitness because running a small business and doing property development and all that stuff really takes. Oh yeah. So I don't want to get tired. So I do my little smoothie in the morning and get out there and drop those girls off and then get to work. Yeah. And my wife and I work together, so we both run hobbies and so we kind of split that up because the girls are kind of teenagers and they can be difficult. Yeah. And so I got to drop the hammer, man. I'm the police at the house. She's too soft. But we're definitely a team. So it's good to we're always, because we work together and we're husband and wife. It's like there's no punching in or out. You're always at work, and we're always talking about the business. But she's kind of settled to running hobbies, and I've kind of broken off and I'm doing a lot of this property development. And like I was saying earlier, branching off into another project now and kind of taking the similar concept where we're repurposing like an existing property and something with a little history, which I do like about Santa Ana Diesel. Yeah. And then, when you presented the opportunity at the Rate Dairy building, I thought, wow, we could do the same thing over there. And so we have some good plans over there. A little bit different, so we're mixing it up a bit, but,
Yeah, and you were able to build, what was it, like 15 or 18?
18, so we the existing structure, because it's historical, we had to kind of work with this, we couldn't just tear it down and have like an empty lot. So, working with the city, we kind of looked at what they would let us do and what the property was entitled to do, and worked again with Brian at City Fabric to help us kind of see what we could do with that property. Because although I could come up with a couple ideas and we actually did kind of have a plan going into it, but I'm like, hey, let's Brian did such a great job at Santa Ana Diesel. Let's see what he would do with it, and he kind of blew us out of the water, like what he came up with. And so with the residential side, Luis has a lot of experience working with clients, and a lot of it seems like a lot of them, there's a big need in the market for one-bedroom spots. Yeah. And so I think a lot of young couples are not really having kids until later in life, and so they don't want to be having roommates, and so it's kind of like created a little niche of a lot of demand for one-bedroom spots. So we were able to work into the concept 18 one-bedroom units, and then and then we're doing 3 retail
on the ground floor.
Exactly, yeah. So we're incorporating the existing building because it is historical, and then there's going to be 3 other structures that we're building around the property. So we're really excited about that one.
Yeah, and right behind that, there are 6 acres owned by Tom's Truck Center, and they have fully entitled 116 units.
I know.
For sale on the market. If you guys need information, let me know. But it's listed by another brokerage, but I'd be happy to provide information for that as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot happening in the city, and I think also with that property as well as Santa Ana Diesel falls into the what's it called? Opportunity zone. Yeah. And so there's a lot of there's a lot of incentives to invest into the properties around there, and so it's a great place to be right now. And just to see the future of what's coming in, like you were saying, the Tom's Truck property, that was kind of like a sprawling, massive buildings that were just built up over 100 years, right? Yeah. And then those got torn down, and now it's kind of like a new life coming into that industrial area, and we're going to see these homes come in. Our property is positioned right in there, so we're going to have like retail that's going to service those homes, and then those little one-bedroom units. So,
and you spoke to Jamie Pope over in Nashville for the opportunity zones, right?
Yeah, I did. He's we definitely have to talk a little bit more, but he was kind of presenting a lot of the opportunities that we can do in the opportunity zone, and how that can kind of incentivize, like, investing into these properties. So I'm excited to learn more, though.
He's an awesome guy, so knowledgeable. We're hoping to have him on the show. I haven't asked him yet, but he'd be a great asset. Just knows all the ins and outs of tax credits, and just blows my mind every time I talk to him.
I know, and it just seems like, this isn't just Santa Ana. So, I guess part of the tax bill, it kind of opened up, instead of the government having to invest in these communities, it's incentivized for private, private sector to kind of come in there and invest, which I think is great, because, it gives us opportunities. So, looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. You said you had something coming up too?
Yeah, so knowing that, I want to go back to like you when you started Harvey's Handbag, and it kind of relates to you going into developing. So you said that the concept started from your wife just telling you if you could make a handbag out of it, right?
Yeah, literally, yes.
So what kind of because you didn't know you were not in the industry before that, right?
No, I just kind of had some skills, and we were just winging it, and we're just like, hey, let's just give this a shot.
Yeah, because it's like the developing side, and then the fashion industry is so cutthroat. So what gave you the courage to put it all in?
I think it's just, I didn't really in the beginning think of it as what it really could be. So I just thought, hey, we'd make a few bags and sell them and get some money, and then buy some more materials and design some new bags. And I guess I didn't really think about it. I just kind of jumped in. I think that if I had I might have been a little too stressed out if I said, one day this is going to be a huge, you're going to have your own factory and be able to develop. I don't know. That's a lot of responsibility there. So I think just going for it would be my advice. It's like, if you got an idea, just try it out.
Yeah.
Maybe it wouldn't have worked, but I think also we were willing to invest everything into it and kind of put ourselves second and grow the business first. And I think it just, we're lucky, because I think this is, Orange County is such a great area to do this, and there's so much potential in Santa Ana.
Yeah. And
the rest of Orange County, is kind of been coming up, but I think people are kind of looking at Santa Ana now, and we're getting a lot of interest from South County, North County, and they're kind of looking at what we're doing down here, and it really is unique, I think, in Orange County, because we kind of have this really cool downtown area, and it used to be the hub of Orange County. Well, it still is. It still is.
It's downtown Orange County. Yeah.
I think people just kind of, because there's so much real estate in Orange County, they just kind of sprawled out, right? And it's like, but people are kind of tired of strip malls, and they want something unique. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're doing, and I think why our customers are connecting with what we're doing with the retail and the factory, and kind of creating our own little retail pocket within the community. So. Right.
I do want to go back to the mindset, because obviously you're a talented individual, and it sounds like these things just kind of fell on your lap, and you just were a yes man about it and just went forward.
Yeah.
But I mean, for, I guess, a starting entrepreneur, I guess from the mistakes that you made, if you made any mistakes, it sounds like you just hit it right up.
No.
but
oh yeah, everything's perfect. Yeah. No mistakes. No, just kidding. Yeah, for sure, there's learning curves. I mean.
Yeah, but how did you stay positive and focused throughout the process? Because I'm sure at some point you knew you had something that was bigger than just creating a handbag for your friends and family. How did you stay hungry? I don't know, motivated and.
I think it was really rewarding to create things for me personally, and just to, kind of I guess I'd be bored if I wasn't doing this. It's like
no choice.
I'm just like, okay, and if I don't have something to do, I'll find something to do, and so it's just rewarding to build something, I guess, and
that's awesome.
And I've been lucky enough to meet the right people, and kind of leverage that and recognize when other people don't. I mean, I kind of went through this exercise I don't know if you're familiar with. There's a motivational speaker. I'm trying to remember his name. But he wrote a book called "Start with Why."
Oh yeah, Simon Sinek.
Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
Simon Sinek. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Simon. But anyways, I really, I really kind of connected with what he was saying is where, it's not about what you're doing, it's like why you're doing it. And so he kind of had this program, and I went through it, and it was.
Was it like a course?
It was an online course, and it was kind of like, it's called Y University, and I went through that, and it really changed everything for me, and I figured out what my why was, and it does kind of connect to how you're raised. And so my parents were entrepreneurs, and we owned restaurants, and my dad actually is a developer, believe it or not, in Australia, and
which is pretty cutthroat. Yeah,
it is. So I kind of grew up in with that background, and I think that gave, like you were saying, that gave me courage, because that's all I knew, really. It's like, you can do it. And so my wife she didn't really come with that background, and so she was impressed. She's like, wait, you just start a business? I didn't realize that. And I'm like, yeah.
It's like 3 years past, and you're like, we have a business.
And now she's running it.
Yeah, exactly. She's running it. So, she's been amazing. Obviously, we're a good team. But anyways, I figured out what my why is, and it's discovering value in the unexpected. And so
that's so poetic. Like, that's beautiful. That's awesome. Yeah.
So it's definitely, we had seatbelt was kind of unexpected to do a handbag in it, and taking these old diesel repair shop and turning it into a little retail community in a neighborhood with some residential.
What was it again? What was it? Discovering
discovering value in the unexpected.
That's so good. Yeah,
thank
awesome.
you. Yeah. It took a while. I had a lot of drafts, and I'm like, no, that's not it. That's not it. And so, I would recommend looking into Simon Sinek. I mean, I'm big on
really kind
of, utilizing other people out there. There's a lot of knowledge out there.
Content,
yeah.
You should trademark that before.
I think, just being open to experiences and learning. And, even though we graduate school, or, whether it's college or high school or whatever education we have, the learning doesn't stop there. And so, I always have a thirst for knowledge, and I'm looking for any advice. And you kind of have a filter where, that's not for me, or, or there's certain things that you do connect to. And so, I try to, do that. And meeting the right people, it really, I know I've said it a couple times, but that really is important. You want to, connect with people that are encouraging, and they want to see you be successful. And, so I've been lucky in that respect, and I think our relationship, we're kind of being able to leverage that into other projects, and then also Luis and
Carlos.
Carlos, exactly,
Brian with City Family.
That's right, yeah. So it's awesome. It's all about those connections, man.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the
show. Yeah, thank you.
Great to have you, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
I know. You got to find us some more deals. Come on, man.
Right?
Let's go.
It's all about finding value in the unexpected. So
that's right. We need some more of those unexpected deals. Off market.
I guess. I guess. Well, thank you for tuning in. Again, I'm Fernando Crisantos.
And I'm Oscar Vargas.
And this is From the Ground Up, guys. Thank you.
All right, man.